bit of a rundown on Carly Johnson?
Sure. Been waiting to coach this kid for a long time. I don't know if you read Mario's release on the story, but just a great young lady who's played with almost all of our young kids on the same team during the summers or various times. A great teammate, knows how to win, a perfect fit for us in a year when we're returning a lot. Our 22 class was never going to be very large. We only wanted to recruit a very specific pool of players, and we were very excited to get Carly aboard early and then keep her, as people sometimes tend to continue to recruit kids, especially after they have committed, because then they know who the competition is. We were able to keep hold of her and can't wait to get her on campus. She and her family, y'all will love her as a Razorback.
Any questions regarding Carly's signing?
Mike, can you talk a little bit more about, you said she played with some other kids in summer. Who has she played with that's on this team?
Jersey, Miriam, and Sasha.
Okay.
And then she played against Ashlyn and Emery a number of times, and Riley. So if you go back and look, Riley, Ashlyn, and Emery all came from the same grassroots program, as did Carly, Sasha, and Jersey. And then they all at one point in time played for a really young team out of Missouri. So they've known each other way longer than I've known them.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, you got it.
Anything else regarding Carly Johnson's signing? Okay, let's shift gears. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about UAPB tomorrow morning?
Another good, diverse style of play for us. They're going to pressure us full court. They're going to be trying to be very, very disruptive. They're going to want us to not be able to function in the full court or the half court. They've got a post player that puts up video game numbers. She played well against us last year. And I think in the team that Dawn has put together, they're very, very deep. She's going to play 10, 12 players, and they come at you in waves. So really good, quick turnaround for us. They've played one game as well. So quick turnaround for both of us, and a good chance to see a different style of play, different style of attack, and force us to defend a different way as well.
Alyssa, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Coach, I have a question about Samaria Spencer. She's someone that I don't think we've actually ever asked you about, but I've been really impressed with her in the exhibition and against Tarleton State. I mean, she's got the most minutes off the bench. She was in double figures in both of these games. I mean, as a freshman, I feel like she's kind of snuck up on us, and it's like, oh, wow, who's she?
Yeah, because of geography. You know, we don't hear a lot about Fort Lauderdale, the greater Fort Lauderdale area high school girls basketball scene. So, yeah, we all knew that she would probably be a little bit of a surprise because of that reason, because we knew so much about Jersey and Miriam and Sasha because we grew up watching her. But Sam she's very unfreshman-like. I said it last night. I think that's the best way to say it. She's not one to wait around. She's not one to she jumps in. She's a cannonball. She jumps right in, both feet, tuck and go. And I think y'all are starting to see what we've seen in her. When we went to see her and we heard that she was interested in maybe leaving the state and interested in the way we played, we really started following her. And you could tell very, very quickly she was going to fit into our style of play. You never know how quickly that transition will happen. It's usually a little faster for guards than bigs because of the strength factor as well. But I think you can tell that she's as quick with the ball as anybody we've had in a long time. She's strong with it. She's getting to learn from Mac, you know, how to make some of those decisions. They've struck up a great friendship. And Paul, just for you, she's going to be starting tomorrow afternoon. So she'll be in that starting lineup tomorrow afternoon. So you can speculate on the other four, but she will be not because of how she played, just because we've talked about starting different lineups throughout the first several games of our season. And this was kind of next in the rotation because of the matchup. UAPB's got a lot of guards. So matchup to matchup, we're going to try to get a lot of speed on the floor. So again, start your predictions now.
You made that a little bit of that comparison, but I was going to ask, I mean, she reminds me a little bit of Michaela Daniels, who came in here as a freshman, another girl from the East Coast in Maryland, who quickly adapted quite easily. Do you see that similarity?
You do. Yeah, you can't help but they do it different ways, and they come from different, but a very strong background, her support system, her family, her grassroots program. She's got a very, very supportive system, which usually leads to a smooth transition. Doesn't always happen, but it gives it a chance. And she just is, she's a sponge. She asks great questions. I can always tell what kind of a kid you're talking about by the questions that they ask. And she's a great question asker. And she wants to be told the truth. She's not what, a lot of kids say they want to be told the truth. And then they really, when they hear it, they're not so sure. This one's the one. She does that. She wants to hear it, and she can take it, and she can give it back a little bit too. She's feisty now. You'll see that over the next 4 years. But yeah, it's fun to watch those two compete every day in practice, and then every now and then end up on the same team. And they've been very good when we've played them together in spurts.
Now, I don't want to jinx you because I know you're a little stitious, but when you look at this UAPB game and maybe focusing on what you guys need to do to get better for that UConn game, what are the areas to take care of business, not to overlook them, but that you want to see before you hit the road for a very big test?
Yeah, and I think it was very important to know we've talked about all three of these opponents in a group. You have to. You can't say, let's just wait and try to go play UConn on one-day prep. That's not realistic. So we've been very open about it. We've said we have to prepare. We have to look ahead. The diverse style, this is a team that's going to come pressure us, a little bit more than Tarleton, where they stayed back and tried to contain us, much like UConn will do. They'll be up on us and force us to prepare for a big player inside that's very capable scorer. We'll do some things that are hopefully going to help us win the game tomorrow, but will also keep us not only preparing for UConn, but preparing for at Arkansas State the next week. And then I think SMU's maybe after that. We break the season down into chunks, and I think it's okay to do that. I think you have to do that. But specifically just a variation style of play from what we've seen in our closed door scrimmage, our exhibition, and then last night. More variety. Yep.
Thank you.
Paul, will go to you.
Hey, Mike, just, this, looking at your schedule in UAPB, you're playing all of the, I think all the D1s in state. I mean, something you wanted to do. I mean, you talked before about this. Just talk about the importance of that for you and the team.
It doesn't really do anything for me other than I hope help the state. I hope it helps every high school program. I hope it helps UAPB. Every school that we play, I truly do want our state to be recognized for having great basketball. And we can't do that if we don't help each other. I tried to get tickets to Arkansas State game, and they said it's sold out. You can't get them. Now, I don't think the whole building's sold out, but like they're packaging it with some deals. That's a good thing for our sport. It's a good thing for our game. And once it became available to us as an option, again, like I said, we're kind of cannonball people. I wanted to jump right in and get them all as quick as we could. We were able to get Coach Foley's done a little bit quicker because I had a little closer relationship to him, and it was we were able to do that. And we were planning on doing it last year as well, but COVID kind of struck. So I hope it's something we can do every year. I plan on, again, we'll play at UAPB at some point, just like we will at UCA at some point, not just all in Bud Walton Arena, because we have fans all over. We have people that follow us from all over. And I think it's very, very important that we do everything we can do to help all programs rise.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Randy, we'll go to you.
You talked about a moment ago, Mike, that is basically the pressure that UAPB is going to put on you in regards to full court. You didn't press, I don't think, any last night. That's obvious because of the score. What kind of tempo do you want to create against UAPB, and how much pressure do you think you need to apply tomorrow?
We want to play as fast as we can go without taking bad shots and turning it over. Hopefully that's very fast. A game in 80 to 90 possession range won't bother us. That'll play into our hands. So I hope we can get it going that pace. That'll depend on how sure we are with the ball. If they start taking it from us a bunch, we'll have to slow down. And I do think defensively we're a little bit longer than we've ever been in the past. Any team I've ever coached, I've never had a team with this much length. We can be disruptive at times too. And I thought last night holding Tarleton to 33, it shocked the heck out of me. I was after watching them on film, I didn't think we had that in us. So I think we may be a little bit better defensively than I thought we were at this point. So hopefully that'll show a little bit more tomorrow night, because it'll be really, really important, not only Sunday, but the rest of the way. I do think we're better defensively, longer, more athletic, and I think we can be a little bit disruptive at times, which will increase the pace even more.
Last night may not have been totally indicative of how you want to use Sasha and particularly Jersey. It seemed like Jersey was not really engaged as much as you'd like for it to be. What are the ways that you want to get Jersey more involved, and then finding really a niche for both Jersey and Sasha?
Yeah, and that's you're exactly right. That's a good observation and a good question. I don't know the answer to it yet. I still don't know what we have in those two players. Jersey is, none of us have ever coached a player like her. She made the first three of the game, and then I can show you a clip where she drove it from the top and laid it in up at the rim, looked like George Gervin changing. She's just got the ability to do so many things. We got to figure out what she's best at. And I think she does too. Rather than have this mile wide, inch deep stuff, I want her to narrow it a little bit. Yeah, get a little bit more recognizable, I guess, predictable. That, I know that sounds funny to say, but I see where you're coming from. I see it every day, and it's in glimpses. And you remember that it's hard to think of her as a freshman sometimes because of some of the things she's capable of doing. But that two-handed block shot, pick it up and lead the break. That I've never coached a player like that. I don't have a drill for that yet. So we're going to let her just keep playing. We're going to keep moving her around until it clicks. I think we'll all know it when we see it. But don't ever, sometimes she makes it look easy. It's not a lack of engagement. That kid is locked in the entire time, whether she's in or she's not in. It is going to be a lot of positions, a lot of things coming. And it'll come in flashes for a while. It'll be that first made three and that drive. And then sometimes when she didn't catch an inbounds ball, there was nobody close to the ball and she just missed it. We'll look at it on film today. I think the next time you see her do it, she'll grab it two hands and nobody will touch it from her. She's a fast learner. And it is going to be a fun evolution watching this kid go from who we've seen to who she'll be by the time it's all said and done.
And you've got a nice problem in trying to figure out how to utilize Ilana. I thought last night she's basically saying, Coach Neighbors, you got to play me more.
Oh, I mean, they're all playing about the same right now. Anybody that's trying to decipher what we're doing, they can come up and sit in my office and we can talk about it for an hour or two. But we're playing kids in lineups that we've put together throughout the week. If you look at the three, y'all weren't at the closed door scrimmage, nobody could be there. But if you look at the closed door scrimmage, Mac and Sam are pretty much splitting time, 20 minutes and 20 minutes. And Aaron and a combination of Jersey and Emory have been doing that. But then those other spots, they're all played the same amount of minutes. Alana's played the same as Amber. Alana's played the same as Riley and Marquisha. We want to, at the end of 8 or 10 games, be able to look up and everybody have about the same number of possessions in equal lineups so that we've got some usable information. But yeah, no, right now, again, every day in practice is so important and every drill is important because the separation is so minute.
I'm a player. Thank you.
Yep.
Brett, we'll go to you.
Like, I think if you would have put $10 down on a parlay that Devo and Amber Ramirez would not have scored in the opening game, you'd probably be able to buy a house. But outside of scoring or plus minus, when you evaluate, what are some of the things you were looking back on last night for rotations or anything else?
Just how they played together, the quality of shots that we were getting, and then how we functioned defensively. Were we able to come up with enough stops? Were we able to defend the perimeter with certain lineups? I'd never go into a game thinking, one player has to score X number of points for us to win. I would not have thought it would be that, but the shots that found her were pretty tough. They guarded her, which if you look at our film and you don't have film on us, you're going to put your best defensive player on her and say, don't leave her, make her life tough, which Amber's maturity is that, hey, that's fine. Y'all got, you got me tonight, but you didn't guard these other ones, and we just hung 85 on you. That's the way she looks at it. The ball will find her when we need it to find her. We have some set actions we probably could have called, but again, to me, at this point in the time of the year, that's not what this is all about. This is not about getting anybody numbers or stats. This is about us making sure that we've got enough usable film and data to follow what our eyes are seeing. We're not an analytically driven decision-making program. I still trust my gut and my eyes, but I do like to have that information to help me make those decisions. So, but yeah, you're right. I think Devo probably led him in minutes played, and I think Amber was close to ours, and our lineups were so effective because Mac and Sam don't drive it to the basket if that kid's help defenders planted in the lane. That kid's out there hugged up, and that's why we get layups. And that's why Sasha gets drives and we get sticks backs because, everybody says, it just doesn't look like Amber's moving. I said, why would I move her with that kid? We're playing 4-on-4 because they're denying her in the corner. We'll play 4-on-4 with the rest. That's okay. And Amber knows that she's been here long enough to know that over the course of the games that we're going to play, that ball will find her.
Do you feel like there were times in the second half where your length completely disrupted even their ability to pass, or feel like everything was altered, passes, shots, everything?
Yeah, they all had a little bit more arc to them, which allowed us to close out a little bit better. We were blocking shots, which again, I'm not used to having shot blockers, but I'm getting more comfortable with them attacking it and fouling a little bit more. I'll have to come to grips with that, but that's okay. Yes, our length and size got disruptive, and it got to. I don't know their team well enough to know whether they were physically tired, but it looked demoralizing to me. It looked like that they were a different team in warmups than they were coming out at halftime. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that we played probably better than we looked on film. I don't know what their scout film looked like, but I think there was a little bit of a moment of, whoa, wait, we're having a really hard time running the stuff that we prepared to run.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and shift gears again. Sunday at UCONN. Coach, you want to preview that game a little bit for us?
A fun one to look forward to. Again, not looking forward to it, but having to look forward to it. The return game from last year's hastily scheduled because of COVID. We didn't have to return it this year. We had said that we would at some point in time, but the way the schedule worked out, it worked for us to be able to do it and do it early. I like to take our kids on a trip every year where there's some cultural experiences. So we're going to be able to play at Connecticut on Sunday afternoon and take the team up into the city, up into New York on Monday and see some really cool things that none of these kids have seen before, or most of them. The vast majority. I was shocked at how many kids have never been to New York. So great opportunity for us to play a team that's, been to 13 Final Fours in a row. And I think they're 1 or 2 in every poll this season. It will be a very much of a test for us to see exactly what we need to work on before SEC rolls around.
Melissa, go ahead.
Obviously, Coach, you guys were able to get the win here. I know that was a completely different team on both sides of the ball, and now you're going there. But what are your expectations in this game? And do you even have any expectations in this game?
Yeah, very that we go in just like we did last time and have fun. I think it was pretty well documented behind the scenes. That was how we approached that game. That's how we prepped for it. That's how we played it. And yeah, we do have different faces, but these kids have all played against those kids. Obviously, a sold-out Hartford arena will not be the friendly confines of what the Bud Walton Arena was for us. The travel you throw in there. Plus, they've added. They didn't really graduate a substantial amount of points or rebounds, and they've added AZ Fudd, who is on everybody's list to watch as one of the best freshmen in the country, as well as a couple other players that are very, very talented. So their depth is probably one of his deeper teams. I've heard some of his preseason press conferences. It's a very, very deep, no weaknesses. There's no holes. You have to do what we did last year and play near perfect and hope you can catch them making one or two mistakes. You know, last year, I know he wanted the game to probably be ended differently with when they got to stop and didn't call a timeout. That was the difference in the game. So we will have to play our A+ game and hope that they make a mistake or two. That's Mario. What was the number? They haven't lost a home game to an unranked team since 2012. Yeah, that's a big number. So no, we're going in fully expecting to do what we did last year and play as hard as we can and let the outcome. That's why we don't set goals. You know, if you set goals and you have expectations, sometimes you only live down to them. Let's go do what we do and see what happens that day. If we run into a A+ sold out crowd UConn, then we'll have a tremendous challenge ahead. But if we play like we can play and we catch them on a little less than A+, then let's see what happens in the last 4 minutes.
Little bit of a left turn here, but going into New York, you mean you got the whole team tickets to Hamilton is what you're saying, right?
Well, I did not, because Hamilton's coming here. You know, we're going to see Hamilton here as a team in Fayetteville in March. So, and we didn't have time. We're not going to get in there in time. I did look into it for sure, because most of these kids were very few of these kids were with us when we saw it in San Francisco, and they've talked about it. We'll walk by the theater. I'll take them by the theater and show them to them. But we're going to do the memorial at the 9/11, because again, these kids, there was only 3 of the kids on our team that were alive when it happened. They were very, very young. So everything that they know about it is through what they've seen on TV. So taking them to see that'll be in the Statue of Liberty, of course. We're going to divide up in little groups and let everybody kind of do what is important to them. You know, I'll be taking the rest of the sneakerheads to the Nike Town and the Flight Club and all the shoe stores that are up there. And one group, we got some scaredy cats that are afraid of heights, so they're not going to go up in the new One World Parade. We'll be doing the Central Park Walk with me. See the memorial, do the Statue of Liberty, the ferry ride, then get back home and get prepared for Arkansas State. We have a little bit of a full week to get back. So great opportunity for us to let these kids have some experience seeing some things they might never see otherwise.
Paul, we'll go to you.
Hey, just talk about the team and how this UConn team is different from last year, because they do return quite a few, but adding the freshmen, like you said, a couple of them who had played with Jersey, right, on the U19 team.
That's right, Amari and Azzy and Paige. She's played with a bunch of those kids growing up. I don't know how different they are. I just think they're more polished. Not that they had any holes in the past. It just, when you watch them play in their exhibition game, it looked like they were pretty much in midseason form. Their execution was precise. This is their first game. I think by design a little bit, just from hearing their desire for it to be their home opener. They picked this game out, the date, and then we didn't know until probably a month ago whether it was going to be in stores or downtown. So I don't know that they're that much different. I think they're very, very similar, just more polished. Paige has got more experience under her belt. Not that you could rattle her at all, but now you really can't. So more depth. They can play big, they can play small. And now I don't think we will be able to surprise them with our pace. He's got usable film, and there was enough of those kids returning saying, hey, we do have, when he says sprint back, we got to sprint back. We got a few points early on that. We won't get any easy points. I know we won't be overlooked, which is we're proud of, but with that being said, that makes our challenge that much greater.
Coach Ariema did mention to me this morning when I visited with him that he had been reminded. He reminded the group of last year in Fayetteville. He did say that.
I listened to a press conference after their exhibition game, and our name was mentioned 6 times. So I thought that was probably a pretty good indicator that if it hadn't been, it was going to be. And I mean, I know that it was a big upset, and I know that they used it last year to go on a large winning streak. And I hope we can help each other again. That helped us in many ways. I hope we can go up there and give them a style of play that'll help them when they get into their league and deep into the tournament, as long as it's not against us. But I know that team is never unprepared. He's got a new assistant on his staff in Morgan Valley that was on my staff at the University of Washington. So I'm really, really close to Morgan and her family. So it'd be good to see her. And that's the only other major change, I think, is they've got a new assistant.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Randy, go ahead.
Mike, with the exception of Amber, and you can correct me on that, no one on your roster is going to play in an atmosphere as they're going to experience on Sunday. What can you do to prepare your team for a hostile environment like that?
Yeah, just make sure they're comfortable knowing that we're all in it together. We'll have some hand signals worked out because they won't be able to hear. I'm not one to pop in music at practice or extra crowd noise or anything like that. It might not be a bad idea. I think just making sure we stay together, keep things very, very simple, and not to where the game's no bigger than the last two that we played. So go into it and just draw from past experiences. I think that's always key when you, for the first time, are stepping into something you haven't dealt with before. And then I'm gonna let Amber and Mac tell stories. Those kids have played in some big environments. Let them be great storytellers and tell those kids that, use that energy like it's for us, not against us, and let them share that together. But the most important thing is just to try to keep things very, very simple so that you're not going in there trying to do something that you haven't already worked on.
This may sound too simplistic, but since you've got so many great athletes on both sides of the ball, so to speak, is it tempting to say, roll the ball out there and let the ladies play?
I hope you don't give our secret away, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Yeah, the scout will be, a lot of the offense that we put in this year is very similar to what they've run. We've defended it. We will spend less time, quote, prepping for UConn than we did for Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Tarleton combined. It'll be, hey, you know who they are. You know what they're going to do. Let's go out now and play. Don't overthink this. I think it was probably pretty well covered from last year. The only thing I said to that team in pregame was have fun. And if you're not having fun, I don't want to be around you. I don't want you in our timeout. I don't want you in our huddle. Regardless of what happens for the next hour and a half, if you're not having fun, don't be around us. We checked in at halftime and we checked in at the end of the third quarter. I kept saying, you guys have any fun? And of course we were having fun because we were ahead. I know that can change and go the other direction, but the message will be the same in that this is, we don't have to turn our uniforms in either way. Nobody's going to hand us a trophy after the game's over if we win, and they're not going to make us turn our uniforms in if we lose. So use it for what it is. And that's a great learning experience to help us for when we have to go, into South Carolina and into Tennessee and into Texas A&M again, all those places. Use it as a learning experience.
Thank you, Mike.
You nailed it.
All right, everybody. We will wrap it there and we will see y'all tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
See you, buddy.